Wang Qishan, who once worked tirelessly to help Xi consolidate power, may already have been under house arrest for 3 years. Xi's former tiger hunting chief has now himself become nothing more than the caged tiger.
Capital flight hit a full $1 trillion in 2025 alone, and in just the first 5 months of 2026, it's already another $1 trillion. Most of that money belongs to people inside Xi's own camp, frantically rushing it out of the country, and the purge of Wang Qishan struck the financial system first.
So what does Xi fear most of all? Princelings, party elders, officials' children, those capable of opposing him?
Wang Qishan's house arrest follows the same logic as how Xi handles the party elders. Never give them a chance to interfere in politics or organize.
The more dictatorial Xi becomes, the less secure he feels, seeing traitors and enemies everywhere.
Almost every faction in the party now sees it clearly. Xi isn't building collective leadership, he's building a Xi family dynasty, privatizing the party.
Right now we're seeing capital flight, escalating purges across the bureaucracy, and the spearhead may soon turn toward the several hundred elite power families themselves. This struggle has entered an extremely dangerous phase. Hello everyone and welcome to PinnacleView. I'm Qishan. On June 24th, The Diplomat published a piece by Dennis Wilder, a veteran China watcher and former senior National Security Council official, arguing that to secure re-election at the 21st Party Congress, Xi Jinping has been aggressively purging any faction within the party seen as a potential threat. The article says Wang Qishan, who once worked tirelessly to help Xi consolidate power, may already have been under house arrest for 3 years. Wang Qishan, Xi's former tiger hunting chief, has himself become the caged tiger. Ironic, yes, but it fits perfectly with the CCP's political logic as it drifts toward true one-man dictatorship. In fact, it seems none of Xi's own political allies may fully escape that very same fate. Joining us today, as always, are veteran journalist Ms. Guo and independent producer Mr. Li Jun. Welcome to you both. Okay, so because we're an independent production, we have to talk about the ad situation for a bit. Our producer really stressed this. When Qishan talks about ads, I shouldn't sound like I'm apologizing to everyone for it, you know. Basically, just don't act embarrassed about it. Don't be shy. So today we'd like to recommend Puritang's Korean Xuanbao Black Ginseng. Black ginseng goes through traditional steaming, which breaks its molecules down finer, so absorption is much higher than red or white ginseng, and its nature becomes milder, less likely to cause internal heat. Right now, if you spend $500 on Puritang products, you'll get a completely free whole root of 9 times steamed black ginseng. And when all of you place your order, remember to enter our PinnacleView promo code JYLT, and you can enjoy completely free worldwide shipping on us. Once people hit middle age and beyond, all kinds of health issues start showing up. Black ginseng really can genuinely help everyone with quite a lot of that, honestly.
Better sleep.
Right, sleep really improves a lot, and this is because we've actually all tried it ourselves. So we can really speak to everyone from experience. What I'd actually recommend is the 15-root black ginseng set. It's $600 a box, and since you get 1 extra root thrown in for free, that works out to 16 roots for $600 total. I think that's an excellent deal. Whether you boil it into chicken soup or just eat it straight as a snack, it's genuinely powerful stuff.
That's a pretty expensive snack, though.
When we were kids, people used to say capitalists were so decadent and corrupt, eating ginseng like it was just some snack. Well, I guess, we're all capitalists now, aren't we? Now I kind of want to try it. And of course, finally, we really do want to thank each and every one of you for your continued ongoing support of PinnacleView. Okay, so Li Jun, right now there are so many rumors flying around out there about CCP elite politics, some of them true, some of them not. But this piece in The Diplomat magazine has really drawn a huge amount of attention, so who exactly is this author, this Dennis Wilder person? Give everyone an introduction.
Who is Dennis Wilder? His actual real name, right, is Danny Wilder, right? In Chinese, he's usually rendered as Wei Deling. He's a veteran American expert on Chinese political issues. Back during the earlier Bush administration, around 2004 to 2005 or so, he served as a member of the White House's National Security Council staff. The committee member there, for instance, was the director handling China affairs.
He's someone who's generally leaned toward wanting good relations with China, you know.
So this article of his marks a real genuine shift for him.
It's not really a shift, though. It's just his own read on Chinese politics.
Right, so why has this article gotten so much attention? It's really him. It's his career credentials, this professional weight and background, because he was, after all, a former White House official, and that background gives his analysis an insider perspective and policy framework that an ordinary academic or journalist just simply can't match. He's had a long track record of watching how power actually operates at the top of the CCP, the factional networks, the anti-corruption campaigns.
Right.
The article's conclusion is that Wang is already, in effect, under house arrest. And Wilder speculates that the motive behind it is Xi Jinping clearing out any elder influence that could get in the way of his bid for a fourth term at the 21st Congress. Even though this Wang Qishan was once Xi's most loyal tiger hunter, his anti-corruption commander-in-chief, he still couldn't escape this fate either, apparently anyway. Overseas Chinese media, including a lot of Taiwanese outlets, quickly picked it up and amplified it, with headlines all along the lines of US media reveals Wang Qishan under house arrest. The impact of that has been pretty significant.
Right, actually, this Wilder fellow, he isn't just that one thing, the National Security Council piece, which was really just policy advising work. He also served at one point as an assistant director over at the CIA as well.
Oh!
So that's in the intelligence world too, you know, a fairly senior position there. So that's why people take him fairly seriously indeed. He's not just some academic working purely off public records. He clearly has his own sources somewhere, his own contacts. But what's also pretty obvious here is that in this particular piece, he comes across as quite favourable toward Wang Qishan. He really does praise him quite a bit, doesn't he? Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you agree?
Right, in his piece for The Diplomat magazine, Wilder does give Wang a very positive assessment overall, calling him one of Xi Jinping's most reliable collaborators, someone who fully committed himself to carrying out crucial, important work for the leadership there, apparently. And that, I think, is very directly relevant to what we want to discuss with everyone today. Setting aside all the later controversies for a moment, in the middle to late reform era, especially when it came to opening up the financial sector and building ties with the US government and Wall Street, Wang genuinely did do a great deal of work. After the 18th Party Congress, Wang entered the Politburo Standing Committee and simultaneously became Secretary of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. That was the high point of his career. He'd led an anti-corruption campaign of really unprecedented scale, personally overseeing the takedown of senior officials including Zhou Yongkang, and in the process dramatically boosted the discipline inspection system's authority. In those particular years, he really became one of the party's most influential, most powerful figures, his power right at its very peak, and widely seen as Xi's most trusted tiger hunter of all. But honestly, that also made him plenty of enemies too. The Jiang faction, the Youth League faction, all of them alike. But this very man, according to Wilder's own analysis, is now effectively under house arrest, and apparently has been for 3 long years now. And indeed, state media really hasn't mentioned him at all since April of 2023.
Right. Wang Qishan really is a pretty controversial figure, actually. Back when he was still in Guangdong, and even later on when he was living in Beijing, he'd often slip off quietly to Hong Kong. I know that there was a place in Hong Kong called the China Club where he'd meet up with so-called reformists to talk things over, because that spot was, in all likelihood, probably free of Ministry of State Security bugging. So, Ms. Guo, what do you make of this whole thing?
This is very likely true. I'd say it's just the first time anyone's actually said it publicly, out loud. So what does this really say about Xi's attitude toward his once closest political ally, wouldn't you say? Former Premier Li Keqiang's death was murky too, and princelings, the Red Second Generation, people like Hu Jintao, Zhu Rongji, Zheng Qinghong, are basically all under surveillance now. Wang's house arrest actually follows that same exact logic as what happened with the elders. Just don't let them get any chance to coordinate or meddle in politics. But as for this latest 2026 wave targeting Wang Qishan, I don't think the operator behind it is necessarily Xi himself. I think it's another body tied to the power center, the decision-making and deliberation coordination body. Because this body isn't something made up out of nowhere. In other words, it's a power platform sitting above the individual ministries, specifically handling major personnel and line of policy issues, institutionalized, codified by regulation, not ad hoc. As for Wang Qishan, his political capital ran along 2 lines. One, the network left by his father-in-law Yao Yilin. The other, the financial reform team of his mentor Zhu Rongji. Both lines got lumped into the Jiang faction by outside observers.
Right.
Back then, Wang Qishan did all of that to pave the way for Xi. Right as Xi was just taking power, Wang alienated almost everyone in his own camp, the Jiang faction, the Youth League faction. He didn't even spare the Red Second Generation, so now he's become completely isolated. Later on, because his power had simply grown too large, Xi needed to rebalance things, so he just sidelined him. There was actually an unspoken understanding between them. Wang handed his people over to Xi, stepped back and kept only a few key lieutenants, like Zhou Liang, Li Xiaohong and Xiao Pei, who stayed on for the time being. Their advancement stopped right at that level. He signaled clearly that he was retiring from the arena, no longer involved in politics at all, so there was this understanding between the two of them. But that understanding can't hold anymore, because Wang's power was simply too vast. His people can't all be cleared out. It's basically been absorbed into Xi's own camp. After Xi's stroke in June 2024, military power slipped somewhat out of his hands, a new power structure formed, and once the decision-making and deliberation coordination body was formally codified against that backdrop, even Xi's own loyalists started getting caught up in the purges. Typical figures from the Fuzhang clique, General He Weidong, General Miao Hua, and Politburo member Ma Xingri from the Shandong clique. These core members of Xi's own faction have all fallen, one after another. At the same time, over this past year or so, during this period when Xi's grip on power has actually been slipping, capital flight out of the country has hit a record historic high, an all-time high.
Right.
It's staggering. For all of 2025, capital flight hit as much as $1 trillion. And now, in 2026, in just the first 5 months of this year alone, it's already another full trillion. And most of that fleeing money belongs to people who are currently inside Xi's own inner circle, frantically rushing it out of the country. And the purge of Wang Qishan first struck the financial system because his core political legacy was rooted right there in finance, vast and tangled in 1,000 threads. The clearest example is Yi Huiman at the securities regulator, removed in February 2024, right when A-shares crashed. Outsiders guessed it was tied to the stock rout, but officials never explained. Then, more than a year later, on April 30th, 2026, Yi Huiman was formally expelled from the party and stripped of his post. The charges included pyramid scheme-style trading, favouring family members, abusing his position for profit and superstitious activities. Yi Huiman was actually at the CSRC for over 5 years. He oversaw more than 900 companies going public, and IPOs alone pulled 2.2 trillion yuan out of the market. That scale alone shows just how vast a network Wang Qishan left behind in finance. So besides this Yi Huiman, there's also the finance-focused deputy at the liaison office over in Hong Kong, and the Hong Kong Exchange's general manager, Ba Shusong. These key posts were all, in a sense, flags marking Wang's network too. So once Xi's own power at the very top weakened, all of these people got swept out and replaced. On the surface, it's anti-corruption, but in reality, it's ripping out, root and all, the entire political legacy that Wang left behind for Xi.
So has Wang Qishan's political base now been completely, entirely wiped out then, do you think? Or does he actually still have quite a bit of strength left behind him, you think?
Basically wiped out entirely, the root and branch kind of wipe out. Because really, what exactly did Wang Qishan spend all these decades building up anyway? The two places he really put down roots were the Beijing municipal party system and the financial system. Later on, his people from the Beijing municipal party system also got folded into the CCDI, and it was those two power bases together that let him seize control of the CCDI so quickly after the 18th Party Congress. Then on June 24th, just recently, in fact, just the past few days, the CPPCC appointed Xiao Pei deputy director of its Social and Legal Affairs Committee. That's the parking spot everyone about to fall lands in first.
Deputy director of the Social and Legal Affairs Committee.
A lot of people sat right there before they actually fell. Sounds like a sidestep, but it's really an exile. Xiao Pei was originally a CCDI deputy secretary and a central committee member, a position with real weight. Outside of Li Xi, Liu Jingguo and Zhang Shengmin, he was the only other person who was both a central committee member and a full ministerial rank CCDI official. He'd also been Wang Qishan's secretary at one point. Now moved to the CPPCC, he's been eased out of the power core a year and a half early.
Actually, you know, he's not really all that old, is he?
Right. So let's take a look at how Wang's old Beijing team was picked off one by one. Dong Hong, Wang's chief secretary for decades, took 460 million yuan in bribes, suspended death sentence. Tian Huiyu, who came up through China Construction Bank, rose to head China Merchants Bank. Zhou Liangfell, this past March, controlled the CCDI's organization department and senior personnel affairs. Li Xiaohong, this one was just announced actually, fell on June 2nd. He headed the Central Inspection Group, which was essentially the command center for this whole anti-corruption sweep, the key one, really. Yang Xiaochao, once head of the Beijing Audit Bureau, was promoted by Wang all the way up to CCDI Secretary General, the only one in history at full ministerial rank. Jumping from vice ministerial to full ministerial rank in 2 years, that's an extremely rare pace. Honestly, this story reads like a death list of Wang Qishan's entire network. The wheels really turned around now. Those who once did the cutting for Wang are now finding themselves standing in line too, waiting their own turn.
This really is the case.
Basically, pretty much every one of them has fallen.
Okay, so your view then isn't really that Xi is orchestrating all of this himself. It's more that Xi and Wang, over all these past years, made too many enemies together. And now it's those very same people who are the ones striking back at them.
The moment your power starts slipping, and you're sitting in such a critical position, and the key point is this capital flight hitting record highs over the past year and a half, those two things are deeply connected.
Right. So Li Jun, we all already know for a fact that Wang used anti-corruption to help Xi clean out the Jiang faction and the Youth League faction too, right? After the 20th Congress, after the pandemic, it feels like Xi started turning on everyone, trusting no one. It's extremely dangerous right now.
I think that's actually pretty understandable. Honestly, the 20th Congress was a huge threshold for Xi to get past, and clearing it landed like a real hammer blow on every single faction in the party because it shattered all of the political legacy that had been built up since Deng Xiaoping's era, things like the old idea that leaders shouldn't serve for life. Including the 2-term limit, it's all gone now. So a huge number of people genuinely did oppose this. It really was inevitable in the end. Once he's re-elected, all the old rules are gone. So then, what exactly is it that Xi actually fears the very most, really? It's the red second generation and elders, the real core of opposition, unlike sitting officials who can't easily rebel. Actually, even well before the 20th Congress even happened, Xi had already started moving against the elders. Remember, back in 2020, that Deng Pufang open letter, wasn't there one? He listed, point by point, one after another, all the problems with Xi, and point 15 in particular said it very plainly. To stop veteran cadres from jointly proposing an enlarged Politburo meeting, the center actually went so far as to deploy troops and police, placing a whole group of veterans and sitting party government and military officials under so-called special protection, which in reality really just meant cutting off their communications, restricting their freedom of movement, and limiting who could even visit them. What kind of conduct even is that, really? Who even gave him that kind of power in the first place, right? If this really, truly is Deng Pufang's genuine open letter, and it's authentic, then that means that even before the 20th Congress, Xi had already begun tightly controlling the entire elder faction, no longer caring about the old rules, or even about saving face anymore. But that was still just the 20th Congress.
Right.
If Xi gets re-elected once more, at this 21st Congress coming up, then he's headed straight down the road toward lifelong rule, full stop, no question about it at all. That would mean confronting the entire red second generation, a crisis for the entire elder faction. Because he'll absolutely have to purge all of these people, all of these family networks of influence before he can ever feel truly safe. Just like Kim Il-sung did back in his own day to secure his own lifelong rule, he wiped out every single other faction completely and thoroughly. So if Xi wants to be re-elected at the 21st Congress, it'll mean an even bigger political purge, targeting the entire red second generation, the elders, even the children of officials. So some people ask, will Xi ever stop? He can't stop because the more authoritarian he becomes, the less secure he feels. He sees traitors everywhere, two-faced people everywhere. Just recently, look at Xi's inspection tour over to Daeju in Shandong, the local welcoming ceremony there for him.
Oh, right. I saw that.
Right? It's already looking a lot like North Korea.
Very much so.
Right? Now everyone there is raising their hands right over their heads.
Rapidly.
Clapping fast, cheering below. I thought, wow, Xi must really be thrilled seeing a scene like that. But look at his face. Absolutely no expression at all on his face, none. It's like he's already fully adopted the North Korean style. But even so, his nerves still just don't seem to relax the way that they do over there, not really. Why? Because these anti-Xi forces still exist out there, in real numbers too. That string he's got wound up so tight just won't ever seem to loosen. So as long as he keeps on climbing, he can really only keep purging more and more people, simply because he has no sense of security at all. So what about now? The CCDI doesn't seem to be listening to him anymore. A lot of the people purged recently were actually his own, including recently reporting to some NPC deputy director post, the former Hubei party secretary Wang Zhonglin. Right, yeah. He was parachuted in as Wuhan's party secretary during the pandemic. Right? So the situation right now isn't unfolding the way Xi actually wants it to. As for this diplomat piece, I think I can take it as one informed opinion, but whether Xi is really the one orchestrating this, I honestly have my reservations.
Honestly, I think this kind of thing shouldn't feel unfamiliar to Chinese people at all. Throughout Chinese history, so many founding emperors, once they took the throne, what's the first thing they'd do? First, kill off the officials who helped them win. What looks like killing off meritorious officials is really just a political relationship, a social relationship, shifting underneath, everyone adjusting to a whole new reality, right? So with Xi now in power, if he ends up taking down Wang Qishan here, or Li Jianshu, or the rest of his own old circle of people, I think that's almost normal. Honestly, Chinese people are pretty used to this pattern, aren't they?
This script has played out again and again across 2,000 years of imperial history.
Right.
Purging meritorious officials is almost an inescapable political law. It's not that any particular emperor was cruel by nature, it's that unlimited power inevitably runs into a natural problem of legitimacy. While conquering the realm, the emperor needs those officials to risk their lives. At that stage, they're allies, their interests aligned. But once the realm is won and the throne secured, those former allies turn into a dictator's most dangerous enemies. Because they're simply holding on to far, far too much, honestly. The logic is simple. While winning the realm, founding officials build up resources, connections, military merit, prestige. The more they fight, the more it grows, the higher they rise, snowballing bigger and bigger. The problem, though, is that rewards have a ceiling. You simply can't keep handing out titles and ranks forever, endlessly. Eventually, there's nothing left to reward, and the entire merit system collapses. So if these meritorious officials keep clinging to the core of power instead of stepping aside, their very presence starts crowding the emperor's own margin of safety. New people can't rise either. It's a raw, naked human nature problem. And it doesn't matter who's sitting on the throne. So the old Chinese saying goes, when the cunning hare is dead, the hunting dog gets cooked, right? When the birds are gone, the bow is put away. Meritorious officials stepping back, retiring gracefully. That fits the deep underlying logic of this whole centralized structure.
Let's come back to reality on the question of Chinese politics. With Xi's approach, do you think he can actually pull off consolidating all power in his own hands like this? Can he succeed? What do you think?
I think it's destined to fail. This isn't a prediction. It's determined by the internal logic of this political system. Why was ancient imperial autocracy even able to last 2,000 years exactly? What did it rely on? It relied on bloodline succession. When the emperor died, it passed to his son, the crown prince, and the whole realm, the entire bureaucracy, the entire army, was nominally the private property of one family, one surname. That's called the realm as family property, right?
Right.
And then there's the heaven, the celestial empire, that heaven. Precisely because the realm was private property, there was legitimacy in passing it down generation after generation. Commoners and officials alike recognized that bloodline and internally consistent logic.
Right. Eh?
If Xi walks this path, his first dead end is succession. Can he even hand power to his daughter, Xi Mingzi? Within the Communist Party's own ideological framework, that is absolutely not allowed. The party charter says it plainly: democratic centralism.
Socialism. And its core values even claim democracy and freedom.
It's not the private property of any one family.
Right.
If Xi actually pushed for hereditary succession, that would mean openly tearing off the Communist Party's own signboard, ripping it off.
Right.
Admitting it's really just a feudal royal house.
No, that's really not the issue at all. Honestly, you say it simply can't be done, but I think it actually might be possible. I mean, what about Kim Il-sung, the Kim family over there, right? I mean, just look at the Kim family. Haven't they basically already gone and pulled this whole entire thing off, haven't they?
A lot of people really love bringing up this North Korea example. Look, didn't the Kim family succeed at it?
Right.
But everyone's overlooking the single most critical factor: time. Kim Il-sung started in 1946 under Soviet sponsorship. It's taken 3 generations, nearly 80 years, to reach Kim Jong-un's generation. And Kim Il-sung himself, purging the party's rival factions, the Yan'an faction, the Kapsan faction, the Soviet faction, the Southern Workers' Party network, pulling out those power bases one by one. That alone took him a full 40 years. Full power really didn't come until the late 60s. Even after pouring in that much time, that huge a cost, North Korean society today is still an extremely fragile, unstable structure. Internally, things could shift unpredictably at any moment. And that's only sustainable because it's built on a small country with extremely closed-off resources and limited outside interference. Xi simply has neither that kind of time nor those conditions. He's already facing serious resistance within the party. What really sets people's minds racing is Li Keqiang's death, a bizarre one, so soon after leaving office as premier, reportedly a sudden cardiac episode while swimming.
Right.
widely read as marking the Youth League faction being torn out by the roots. Then on January 24th, CMC Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia and Joint Staff Chief Liu Zhenli were both announced under investigation. Zhang Youxia's father was Zhang Zhongxun, who served alongside Xi Zhongxun in the Northwest Field Army, one of the Xi family's most trusted old ties. Yet Zhang got taken down just like that, and the official military paper's editorial accused him of severely trampling the CMC chairman responsibility system. After Zhang's fall, overseas reports claimed that officers at the regiment level and above across the military are submitting resignation letters en masse, that theatre command generals are refusing to publicly declare support for Xi, the whole military showing a kind of passive resistance rarely seen before. It's precisely after Li Keqiang and Zhang Youxia that nearly every faction within the party, red second-generation military brass Youth League remnants, now sees clearly Xi isn't building collective leadership, he's building a Xi family dynasty, privatizing the party itself. So what's really emerged now, this new power platform, the decision-making and deliberation coordination body, is itself carving up Xi's own power, not something Xi himself wanted. It's a counterbalancing mechanism forced into existence by forces within the party, meaning the more fiercely the internal power struggle rages, the more frequent the purges become, the deeper it strikes, the harder the counter-purge hits back, the more people it drags down, and that alone proves the internal struggle has been pushed to an absolute breaking point. So the CCP's current situation honestly could see major upheaval at any moment now.
Yes, honestly, Wang Qishan's fate here proves once again that in CCP politics, in this entire political circle, there are really no true allies at all, only ever temporary interests. I think most political systems, honestly, once they reach a certain point, all end up looking pretty similar in the end. Back in those particular days when Xi had just first come into power, Wang Qishan helped him go and hunt tigers, clear away every obstacle in his path, and in doing so, ended up alienating nearly every single faction within the entire party. What you're seeing today, the wholesale purge of the financial system and the discipline inspection ranks, this is absolutely not a coincidence, and it's not just Wang Qishan's own personal curtain call either. I think it very likely is, as Ms. Guo just said a moment ago, a sign that one of the key pillars propping up Xi's hold on power may itself be collapsing. With capital flight underway, official purges continuously escalating, and the spearhead possibly now turning toward the several hundred elite power families themselves. This shows the CCP's internal power struggle has entered an extremely dangerous phase. The harder the purges, the more brutal, and naturally, the fiercer the resistance. It looks like power is consolidating, but in reality, it may be heading toward total loss of control. So China's current situation right now is honestly extremely dangerous. Okay, that's about all the time that we have for today. Many thanks to both of our guests, and thanks so much for watching. See you all again next time.